Hi everyone, Hannah here. I hope that y'all are having a great day. So we are finally getting around to doing the next step in our June scrapbook box tutorial. And I mean, it is with the June scrapbook box, so that's why I've been titling that. But these steps you can use for any book, you know, any scrapbook album. And so we're going to start with the cover first of putting the paper on. So I think we already had our first sheet here. Okay, so we've got our first sheet right here, and then I think we was going to, I usually kind of like to line mine up like that, so I'll have mine, I think, like this in the back. That'll be really pretty. I like that a lot. So I like that. And then on the middle part, trying to think what I'll do. I do like that too, just to kind of have something to break up, or just something plain, or even like this in the middle. So I think I'll go ahead and cut this down to do that. So our spine is roughly 3 inches. So let me see if I do the 3 inches on this. Okay. I'm just going to kind of put this paper aside. I just want to kind of line it up a little bit. So if I do it at the 3 inches, there's going to be some overlapping. So I'm going to actually cut my paper down at, I'm going to do it at 2 7/8. 2 7/8 is in between 2 3/4 and 3 inches. So your 2 7/8 is, you know, here's 2, here's 3, and that little line right there, that is your 2 7/8. So I'm going to cut that. Okay. And I'll just I leave all my scraps to one side because we can definitely use them. Okay. And now what a lot of times I like to do, I love using seam binding as my closure for my book. So I'm going to take, you can take what you have used. You know, you got a yard of each color. So you could do that. I'm going to take, let's see here, I want to try to get an idea. Get an idea of what I want. So let me grab my scissors. Let me see if this, did I cut that right? I want to make sure it was long enough. Okay, yeah, I think that'll be long enough. Because what I'll do, I'll kind of do some kind of bow or some kind of, you know, tie it some way in there. So I think that'll be okay. All right. So I'm going to take and glue that down first. And I usually do about the middle. I hope everyone is doing well, that you know, y'all are well and safe with all of this pandemic that's going on. We are doing okay, other than maybe about to lose my mind at times. I'm doing pretty good. This is definitely a hard time, to say the least. And then when you have children, it's really hard, you know, because your kids are used to, you know, living out a normal everyday life, and then that normal everyday life changes, and it's very challenging. We did, okay, let's see. Okay, so I got my ink, and this is gathered twigs. I love. At first I didn't know if I would like it, and it is pretty dark, so I definitely would suggest putting it on you know, some kind of a foam or sponge tool, because it is it's definitely darker than vintage photo. Like vintage photo, I could just take it and just go with it, but this is a little bit too dark to just kind of go crazy with it for me. So I kind of just go around the edges and then kind of blend in a little bit more, because I don't want to just put it on the very edge. I want to kind of have it all over. So you can see on the edge, like it's a little bit darker there, and then I just kind of blend it in a little bit. And then I like to take and kind of add a few little other places there, and see, that really looks nice. I like that. So I'll go ahead and do that to all these pieces. So we did finally go to the gym today. We have not been to the gym in 4 months, because March was when all that stuff happened and the gym shut down. And so we finally went today, and it was actually nice. I mean, of course we have to wear face masks, and they do, you know, check your temperature. And, you know, they checked mine, they checked the kids. And then in the kids club, they keep the kids 6 feet apart, which it's not really hard to do, because, you know, I was only there for an hour. I went and did a Payo, which is a cardio yoga class. It's really fun. I really love it. And but that whole hour, my 2 kids, and there was one other kid in there, and that was it. So there's not a lot of kids at the gym. There wasn't even a lot of you know, adults at the gym. You know, so I mean, and you know, used to, you know, like before the pandemic, you know, we would go on a Friday. I mean, Friday was such a busy day. It was very, very busy. It was hard to get a parking space, and see, I like that. Kind of distress it a little bit. Looks nice. So there definitely was not that many people. So, which is, it's sad. It does make me sad, you know. I know we'll pull through this. It's just gonna take a little bit longer than we wanted it to, that's for sure. You know, a bit more patience. I'm not the most patient person. I think like I'm patient enough. I mean, you know, I'm a mom. You have to have some kind of patience to put up with your kids at times. So I do have some patience, but then there's just, I feel like I use it all up on the kids and don't have patience for anybody else. All right, let's see here. Kind of get this straight somehow. Let's see. See, that looks so nice. So the rest of the video, I have taken the sound off because the background noise was just loud, lots of stuff going on, and it was hard to find a quiet moment to do this. So anyway, so on the inside of the cover, I cut 2 pieces, 6 inches by 6 inches of white cardstock and gluing them down. If you have any overhang, you can always cut it off, kind of like we did when we glued it on the front of the cover. We're also going to glue our hidden hinge down on the inside of our spine. This is where we will be connecting our pocket pages to. So the pages on the inside of our book, I have cut those down to 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 so that I can have a little bit of a white border around the scrapbook paper. And I'm taking the Gathered Twigs ink and going around the sides with my sponge tool. And I really like the look of it. And then I'm taking Aleene's tacky glue because that's what I like to use when I make my scrapbook and I do my various projects. That's the glue that I like to use. It's really good glue, and it's, when you're making a book, it will, the adhesive will be there over time, whereas score tape, it's going to lose its adhesive ability over time. So I definitely prefer the Aleene's tacky glue. I forgot to ink the edges of the piece of paper that I put on the inside of the cover. I did the first one, but not the second one. I was getting distracted with my kids needing help with something, so I was like, oops, I forgot to do that, so I wanted to go ahead and do that. So for our pocket pages, we are going to be cutting 12 pieces, make 12 squares, 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. You could do it, cut it down more if you wanted a larger white border around your scrapbook paper. I like to have just a little bit, so I'm cutting mine down, to the 5 7/8. And you'll glue one on each side of the pocket page. I'm doing the first one now. And then I went ahead and did the rest of them off camera. So I'm taking the scraps that I had left over from when we cut our white cardstock down for our pocket pages. And I'm cutting it down to where it is, it's 5.5 inches tall because we want to fit it inside our pocket page. You could make it closer to 6 inches tall, but you want it to be able to fit in, pretty good. And I wanted to take one of the edge trimmers, I guess you could say, or edge borders. And I'm struggling with this one. It is really hard to get down there to push it down and punch the hole in the paper. So I like the design, but I do not like the paper, the punch. It is really hard. You got to really put your weight on that thing. But it does cut out a pretty little design there. And so once I get it cut, Then I cut down a piece of cardstock to 4 1/4 by, well, roughly like 5 1/2. I think the white piece of cardstock is like 5, and it's not 5 7. Well, it's about 5 7/8. And then I cut the scrapbook paper that I'm going to glue on there 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And that gives just a little bit of a white border around. So I'm gluing this down and I realize, oh, I forgot that that was the other side of that paper. And I would rather have this beautiful oval frame that would be perfect to put a picture inside. So I wipe off the glue and then ink the edges so that way I can, glue it down. That would make a really pretty page insert. I really do like it a lot. So you can go ahead and make 5 more of these page inserts or pocket inserts, and you'll also cut out 10 pieces of cardstock, um, you know, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, or depending on what size your pocket insert is. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask away. Hope you have a great time doing this project. Bye.